let's talk about the 5 rules. These are cardinal rules of creating an interesting book. Many people ask me this question, Ram, how do I write or create an interesting book that people interestingly read? How do I make this so interesting that people will read my book? I mean, there are 5 rules you can follow. I want to share these 5 rules with you based on about 200 authors that I have worked with all over the world, and this applies for non-fiction, business, how to, your leadership category kind of books. This will not apply for fiction, poetry, textbooks or academic books. So if you are someone who wants to write a book about your business, about your profession, about what you do and what you want to be known for, like in the non-fiction category, then follow these 5 rules so that you create an interesting book that people would love to read and people would want to buy and people would want to come back to you with their feedback and with their questions perhaps, or become your followers. See, one of the main reasons why people want to write books is to build their fan following. One of the reasons. There are many goals. We'll do another video about how to select a goal for your book. But when you select a goal for your book and then you want to write your book and you want to make it interesting, because when you write a book and nobody reads it, then what is the use? You don't want to write a book just because someone else has done it. Imposter syndrome. You don't want to write a book because someone asked you to do so. You don't want to write a book because your mentor has written a book, or even you don't want to write a book because I asked you to do so, right? You want to write a book because you have a reason, you have a goal, you have an audience, and you want to help them and you want to make this an interesting book. Rule number 1, I want to share 5 rules with you. Rule number 1, we are not talking about the topic of the book or anything. This is applicable for any topic as long as it is non-fiction. The first rule is have genuine interest with your audience. What do I mean by that? The key word here is genuine. Like, you want to have a very deep interest with your audience, which means here in this case the readers or future readers of your book. You have not even selected your topic of your book, let's say, but you are generally and specifically interested in this group of people. You select a group of people, that is your audience, that is your readers. Who are you writing this book for? Develop an interest in those readers. That's when the book becomes interesting. It's not what you are interested in. That's the difference. It's not what you know that has to go into a book. It is what the readers want to know. So how will you know that? By developing a genuine interest with the audience, with the readers. That's how you can make the step 1 of writing a book that is going to be interesting for you. Why will someone read your book or any book for that matter? Because it is interesting for them. Someone told them, someone recommended them. That is why they want to read that book. And if they don't find it interesting, guess what? People close the book, it goes back on the shelf, almost always never getting opened ever again. What if it is interesting? Is not only people will finish reading the book, but also take action, maybe reach out to you, maybe become your follower, your fan. There are many things that can follow. Maybe buy from you, or attend your webinar, or attend your event and pay you, or come to your place of business. Many things can happen. So what is the second thing to write a non-fiction book that is interesting, that qualifies as an interesting book? This is write to teach, not write to tell. Nobody likes to be told what they are doing, but everybody wants to learn more. So have an agenda. Like, book is especially a non-fiction book is a very good medium for teaching. You take any non-fiction book, for example, one of the most famous examples is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. The 7 habits, each habit is a chapter, and each habit the author provides the context, the definition, the training, the examples, the situations, other references, and a framework, and also asks questions, gives answers. So the point of writing the book itself is to teach. So take your topic, whatever your topic is, and break it down into teaching points. Maybe you want to teach 1 point in each chapter, or maybe you want to teach 5 points in each chapter. I mean, we recently did a book about hacks by one of our authors, Ravi Kumar. So the book is titled Thriving Hacks, and Thriving Hacks talks about hundreds of hacks in each chapter. Like every chapter, the chapters are divided into different areas of life, like career, finance, health, and so on and so forth. And every chapter has a number of hacks. Either way, you're writing to teach. So when we work with authors, we don't start accepting their manuscript and working on improving that manuscript. We don't work that way at all. When we work with our authors, we start at the very, very basic level. They just have to come to us with an idea of, yes, I want to write a book. They don't even have to know the topic of the book. So we have to develop all these on the way. We are going to do all these exercises to figure out what does the author want to teach in the book. And that's how this idea has come up. And point number 3 is, in order to make your book more interesting, is simple. Interact with your audience. And what do you mean? How can you interact in a book? I mean, you cannot interact in a video now, but how can you interact in a book? If you are chatting with someone, if you are messaging, if you are on WhatsApp, you can interact, right? But how do you interact in a book? That is exactly why you should do this. You should think about this, because it is not a one-way communication anymore. Gone are the days when book used to be a one-way communication. Like the author tells something, teaches something, the reader reads. It's a one-way communication. Usually there was very slim to none chance of you ever meeting the author. But today it's not like that. You as an author is available online, offline, everywhere, and it is easier to interact and communicate with people. And every non-fiction book, in order to be interesting, must have interacting elements within the book. So what do I mean by that? Very simple. There are different ways, but the most simple, easy ways are like asking questions. Maybe at the end of every chapter, you can ask questions on what you taught in the book. Assessments can be a very good addition. Let them ask, let them answer a few questions that you are going to ask in the book, and let them rate themselves, the readers. So in a way, it can become like a workbook, all right, at the end of the chapter. Or maybe you can also provide a QR code at the end of a book. So people who are reading, now they scan the QR code and they come to your website, and there they can chat with you, or there they can watch a video with you, of you, or there they can email you, or they can send you a message that you can reply back, or they can join your list. So there are many different layers of interactions you can include as part. So writing a book and publishing a book is not just a simple on its own independent kind of a strategy now. 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, it was a strategy that way. But now everything is interconnected, right? Everything is we can take advantage of this interoperability. Like everything is connected to each other. Your book can be connected to the internet. Your book can connect with your readers, and the readers can connect back with you. And you need to build a list of your fans and followers, right? So for that to happen and make the book more interesting, help your readers interact with you. Think about this. This is not a tactical session. I'm not going to go into telling you exactly how to do this, but these are strategic, like overall, like these are the strategies that the world's best-selling authors are using nowadays. The next point, what else do you need to do? You don't have to kiss anyone. Of course, it's if you want to show your expression of love or appreciation in some way, but keep it to your family members. But if you want to make an interesting book, this stands for the old adage, keep it stupid simple. But I would like to leave out the stupid. Stupid is only for explaining. Keep it like insanely simple. All right. Keep the the content of the book. But most authors, especially first time authors, make this big mistake. They think, oh, I'm writing a book, I have to put everything I know into this book, I have to make this the big encyclopedia, I have to write everything that I know about this topic in this book. And in their zeal and endeavor to come up with the greatest thing that is ever created, so they make the content very complex. So if readers cannot understand at a very basic high school level version of what you are trying to teach, then probably it is not interesting to many people. Maybe it will appeal to a very small niche of people. Maybe your audience is just like, let's say, all PhD graduates. Maybe in that case it may still work to keep it complex. But generally non-fiction books, because we're talking about non-fiction, we're not talking about academics, right? Non-fiction books need to be simple, keep it elementary, keep it basic, and use all these other elements so that it becomes more interesting. The last one, this is the real game changer, I would say. Most of our authors, when we implement this with them, they suddenly get excited and they want to do their book as quickly as possible. What is this? It's a mindset shift mainly. So if I ask you a question, do you want to write a good book or a better book or the best book? What would you choose? I mean, most often, most people would choose the best, right? But the best is, the problem with best is, let's say when you are doing a project, doing a task, let's say, and let's say it didn't come up to good levels, like it was not satisfactory. Then someone asks you, like, why, what's going on? You're facing problem, you're facing trouble. You say, what will you generally say? Like, look, you know what, I have done my best. And the same thing applies when someone else is doing a shabby work and you confront them, and maybe that's their, I mean, it's not like they're deliberately doing shabby work, but that is the best they could do. And what would they say about their work? They say, I did my best. So now when you're writing your book, do you want to write a best book like that, or you want to write a good book, or the best option is you want to write a better book? Now, most of our authors who have been international bestsellers, they have chosen this approach, because this is what we start with when we start deciding about the topic of the book. You want to go for the best, maybe you cannot hit the target. How do you know that you are going to create the best book? That is a very vague idea to pursue, right? But what if you decide to do better? What does that better mean? Like, better means, what are the other books out there that are talking about your topic? How can you make it better? Maybe you have your own set of 7 habits for highly effective people. Maybe Stephen Covey's 7 habits are worldwide now. Maybe in the new world, you have your own set of 7 habits which are better than Stephen Covey's, that you can write a book about. Nobody can stop you from doing that, right? You can write your own better version. I mean, you are in business. Maybe you are a professional, you are a CEO, or you're having some kind of an expertise. You consider yourself as an expert, right? You have something that others don't have. You are in business because you have some unique USPs, like you have unique selling propositions. You have some unique knowledge. You have some unique insights that only you have, which may not be the best in the world, but which could be definitely better than many others in your industry. You agree to that? So if you agree to that, then your book, if you want to make it interesting, make it better than what others are teaching. Because book is just an aid. I mean, what are you teaching? That same teachings come in the form of a book. And then it can also come in the form of a video. You can turn it into a documentary, you can turn it into a course, you can turn it into a seminar. Because most of our authors, when we work with them, this is how we coach them initially. Because until now, we don't allow them to choose their topic. Because topic is not important. Strategy is important. When you choose you want to do better, when you choose what you want to teach, when you know exactly what are the problems your audience are facing, when you know more about them, showing genuine interest, you have expressed genuine interest and you know exactly what keeps your readers or audience awake at 3 a.m. in the morning, then you want to teach them how to solve their problems. And while you are teaching them, you make it interactive and you also keep it simple so that you can easily exchange this information that you want to or convey the information that you want to teach to your audience in a very simplistic manner so that they can comprehend the information that you are sharing. You are literally transferring your knowledge, your insights, your perspective in the form of a book. So keep it simple. And then if you do a better job than anybody else, nothing and no one can stop you from writing an interesting book and becoming an international best-selling author. Most best-selling authors you see, they were not famous. Very few were already famous. Very few were already celebrities before they wrote that book. But many authors, thousands of them, maybe tens of thousands of them, they became famous after they wrote their book and they implemented some of these strategies. So here you go, 5 rules to create an interesting book that people will love to read and become your fan and appreciate your effort. Here are the rules. Follow these rules. Don't hesitate to think about creating your own book. Go ahead. You can become definitely an international best-selling author, no doubt about it. Let's do it together if you want it. Watch out for my next video. Until then, keep smiling, believe in yourself, and get all the best things in life.